Jared Moskowitz absolutely hammered Republicans today. This next clip is in two parts. First, he picks apart the House GOP's priorities for the defense budget, which just include a lot of, we don't want to be woke, we don't want anything to do with abortion or climate change. And so he picks those apart very easily. And then he moves on to the second part of the clip, which is the pièce de résistance, where he talks about the House GOP whistleblower who for months Republicans have been saying that this guy is going to blow the lid off of the Biden crime family. Turns out he's a Chinese spy, former arms dealer, also worked with the Iranian regime. I'm not kidding.
We're talking about the NDAA while this hearing's going on, supporting our defense, supporting our country, keeping our military superiority over China. It passed 58-1 in committee. Bipartisan, how it has always been and how it should be. Except now it's held hostage. It's held hostage over the culture war, right? It's not about defense, it's not about protecting the American people. No, it's about abortion or defending the Confederacy based on amendments that my colleagues have filed. Or it's about books again. We're back to books. Or it's about stopping mitigation to climate change. Anyone right now who's currently experiencing record flooding or record heat, they're not worried about defending the country. No, they're worried about stopping mitigation to climate change. The Senate's going to kick all this back to us. They're going to wipe all this culture war nonsense out. And so this is just theater. It's not about defending the country. They're holding up 250 nominees in the Senate to our military. My colleagues across the aisle are doing that. We can't appoint the head of the Marine Corps because of the culture wars. Hasn't happened since 1910. In October, when we're going to see the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff probably retire, nope, we won't be able to appoint that person either, based on this nonsense if it continues. But they're focused on the audit of the Pentagon. Can you imagine if someone audited this committee? Oh wait, I have that audit of this committee. Actually, it's in form of an indictment. That's the audit of this committee. It's an indictment by the Department of Justice because this committee is focusing on working with foreign agents, right? We want to talk about national security. That's why you guys are here. It's about national security. But the main committee is working with an indicted Chinese agent who does business with the Iranian regime and is an illegal arms dealer to Libya. All of this in order to own Hunter Biden. That's how far they've stooped. It reads like a 007 movie, this indictment, except they're working with the villain. You know, that's why I've sent a letter to the China Select Committee, the chairman of that committee, to open up into an investigation into what's happening in oversight, because I'm deeply worried about whether the CCP has manipulated the information that's been provided to this committee through their foreign agent that they're working with, and the information that they're then providing to the American people. It's also why I've sent a letter to the chairman of Foreign Affairs and the chairman of Homeland Security, because I need to know, and the American people need to know, they have a right to know, whether the indicted foreign agent, the illegal arms salesman who is working within the Iranian regime, who is a supporter of terrorism around the world, that's who they're working with. We need to know whether they have jeopardized Homeland Security in their search to help Donald Trump in his reelection. I yield back.
Boom, right there. Republicans, don't even pretend to be pro-military. You're in bed with Chinese spies. Donald Trump, who knows how deep his connection to Russia and Vladimir Putin went. Don't even pretend like you guys are the ones who are supporting our military. 250 military nominees held up. The head of the Marine Corps is being held up. That hasn't happened in over 110 years. Republicans are having to go to such great extremes to try to break this government. It is absolutely insane. I thought it was really interesting how Jared Moskowitz is like, I'm going to write letters. I'm calling for investigations. I was like, yeah. I was like, oh, wait. Oh, those are all Republican chairmen who are going to laugh at Moskowitz and go, are you kidding? You think we're going to investigate our own who are clearly, just bogus politicians who are corrupt, who are working with Chinese spies? Like, I can't investigate them. So no, we're not going to see any investigations from the China Select Committee, the chair of the Foreign Affairs Committee, the chair of the Homeland Security Committee. Not going to happen. Maybe if the Senate wants to do something about it, they will. And that's kind of what Jared Moskowitz was talking about in the first part of this clip, right? That all these ideas that these House Republicans want in the defense budget they're going to get sent back because Senate Democrats, who are the majority in the Senate, are going to, much like Jared Moskowitz's request for the investigations, House Democrats are going to say no, or Senate Democrats are going to say no to the House GOP, priorities for the defense budget. That's why Moskowitz was calling out the theatrics of it all, because the House GOP, they're not willing to budge on anything, right? So of course, the Senate is not going to budge on any of their insane ideas. Now, Moskowitz also gave a minute to Dan Goldman, and Dan Goldman was amazing, magical, like he always is, simply by fact-checking Republicans at the hearing.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to yield some of my time to Representative Goldman.
Thank you. I thank the distinguished gentleman from Florida for yielding a little time. I want to briefly address another one of my distinguished colleagues from Florida's earlier remarks, and in mostly saying that there was a 6-month buildup of Russian troops on the border, and somehow President Biden did nothing to deter Russia from invading Ukraine. I find it odd to hear a Republican supporter of Donald Trump complain that we didn't do more earlier to deter Russia. We all remember in 2019, Donald Trump withheld all of the military and security assistance Congress appropriated to Ukraine in order to benefit his re-election campaign. And in fact, on the contrary, Joe Biden, as president, did share intelligence to rally around our European allies to support Ukraine in a meaningful way that actually offset the need for us to provide as much financial assistance. But I'm glad to hear that Mr. Donald supports Ukraine in its war against Russia, and I hope that he can convince his colleagues, including some on this committee, not to strip all funding for Ukraine in the NDAA. I thank my colleague for yielding, and I yield back.
The idea that House Republicans would try to attack Joe Biden for not supporting Ukraine enough is insane, because a lot of the Republican Party, they don't even want us having anything to do with Ukraine. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of Republican voters who support Putin's invasion of Ukraine. So they're all over the place. They're working with Chinese spies. They're cozying up to Putin. Many Republican voters say they would want Putin over Joe Biden any day. They tried to get an investigation into Joe Biden by withholding aid to Ukraine, and they want to talk about how they support our military more than Democrats. Nonsense. Complete nonsense. Thanks for watching, guys. My name is Brendan Plank. If you're new to the channel, be sure to check out that subscribe button or follow the page so you get the videos in your inbox. I will see you in the next video.